is the Dublin Special Master.
Live and direct.
Breakfast with CubCamTV.
Trickstar Radio.
Yes then, people, we are back inside the building. Right about now, it's time to jump into the interview hour here on Breakfast with KXVU. Trickstar Radio business. We had to light up your Thursday, considering the weather's gone a bit the other way. We had to light up your Thursday with a very special guest indeed. I've been looking forward to this one since we locked it in. One of the most talked about names in UKG right now. One of the most consistent producers out there. We're very happy to have him on the phone. Man like Wilfy D joins us. How's your morning going, sir?
I'm all good, thanks. Thanks for the kind words and thanks for having me on board today.
Awesome, man. It's great to get you on the line. I've been looking forward to this one for a hot minute, purely because when the main reason for that is when we were kind of looking to get this locked in, I was actually going through the Trickstar Radio catalogue, like all of the music we've got in the system, basically on the back end. And I was going through, and every sort of 5 tunes I was seeing on the garage shows, there was a Wilfy D tune. There was a Wilfy D tune. There was a Wilfy D tune the entire way through. So it's kind of crazy because it feels like the last couple of years you've really sort of sprung into action. Do you want to talk to me about kind of your sort of journey over the last couple of years?
Yeah, of course. Because I've been producing music for a long time, and I was generally like been making a garage for a while, but not really doing a lot with it in terms of releasing it. I was kind of like, yeah, you could say just refining the craft. So I already had like a bit of a catalogue of tunes, and then eventually I just decided to start a label, so I started Vitamin D Records just to put my stuff out, and that was about a year ago now. Okay, so I didn't really have any solo Wilfy D stuff. I had a few collabs out before that, but I hadn't really got any solo stuff out until then. And then I started putting those releases out, and yeah, the rest is kind of history. So there's been a lot of growth since then and releasing on some other labels and stuff. But really just been doing the same thing as that and just putting out those soulful garage hits, you know?
Definitely, bro. And I mean, you've been picking up a lot of good support. And again, at Tricky, whenever we look through the new music selections, when all the presenters put their new music in for the week, it seems like every week there's a new Wilfy D bit in there. And obviously with that sort of growth period you were talking about, starting the label about a year ago, that was obviously bang in the middle of the first kind of lockdown by the sounds of things. Like, did that affect the sort of way you were putting stuff out there?
I mean, yeah, of course it had its effect, and like, but to tell the truth, I had that in motion since before coronavirus and that. So, you know, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to start putting tunes out now. I had that in motion for a while. I just took a while to get my stuff together.
Okay.
And then the time I happened to go live with it, because I'm dropping the vinyl, you have to give it. It takes a few months, that process anyway. So, you know, it just kind of happened. So the time that I was sort of going live with it was also lockdown. But yeah, of course it had its effect because, you know, ultimately I haven't heard any of these tunes in a club yet. Not one of them, which can make it pretty tricky in terms of, you know, it is ultimately club music. I think there's a place for it for people just listening at home and in the headphones and stuff. But yeah, it can make it a bit tricky in that, you know, that's where a lot of inspiration comes from.
100%. Yeah.
Hearing it, yeah, and also getting that reaction from the crowd, it can be really useful. And hearing how things sound. So it's been strange, and it's yeah, maybe that's partly why a lot of my tunes that are out have been a bit more geared to like not home listening, because I think they go off as well, but that's just. It's partly the climate. Do you get me?
Yeah, 100%, man. And I think that's what's been so interesting, because obviously over the last couple of years, prior to lockdown, we did see the sort of start of the resurgence of garage. But since lockdown's been a thing, it feels like just garage music, and especially this more sort of, I want to say more sort of new wave of garage music that has been landing. It definitely feels like that's almost been the most consistent genre of dance music in the UK. Like, how has I mean, just from your sort of personal perspective, how has that sort of re-emergence been for you? Because obviously you're someone who's very much at the heart of garage as a movement at the moment. So how do you feel about the sort of re-emergence over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, it's been sick. And yeah, there's a lot of really cool music happening. Different. Like, you know, I think it's a sign of a good scene when the people can really like hone in on their own sounds. So like, you know, you definitely got the darker stuff, but then you definitely got you know, Conductor and the New KG Wave doing their thing, which is sick. and people more doing some of the old school stuff. Speed garage is big, so it seems like all sorts of cool things are happening. I guess one thing that is a downside is that because of like there hasn't been a load of events. A lot of people that I've been in touch with and even doing collabs with, like I still haven't met them.
Yeah, of course.
Which like it gets a bit weird after a while, and it's like, well, we're just humans, and it'd be nice to see these faces at some point.
No, 100%. I entirely agree. And obviously, there you've kind of mentioned the sort of difference between the people kind of making the old school stuff and obviously that newer sort of new KG kind of wave as well, as you said, all the Kiwi boys and Conductor, the sort of sound that they're all working on. For you personally, though, it seems to me like you have a position that's very much bang in the middle. You've kind of found the best of both worlds with the sound you create. Everything sounds very fresh, very slick, but it also has all of those kind of old school nostalgic elements tied in. Like, how long do you spend trying to find that balance between the two?
Well, yeah, firstly, I appreciate you saying that, because that is kind of what I'm aiming for. But I mean, my first tunes were, I think, my first Vitamin D release was very, very like straight 2000s, late 90s sounding garage. I don't think there was anything that new about them. Obviously, the production style is obviously new. But then as I've developed, I've kind of been a bit more trying to update the formula a bit. Sorry, can you repeat the question as well?
No worries. Like, how do you manage to find that balance between the two areas? Obviously, you said your sound's advanced over time. Like, how do you find that sort of golden pocket?
I mean, I just do my thing, innit? But I guess it's still the same. It's still the same formula that I go for. The classic, melodies and vocals that pretty much drive the music forward. But yeah, I'm also trying to be quite up to date with my production sounds. Like, I've been whacking loads of like 808 hi-hat rolls in a lot of newer tunes, and like even just little tricks like that can make it sound a lot more 2021. But I think ultimately, if you're producing your music on a computer and yeah, using a lot of newer plugins and stuff, it's definitely gonna freshen it up a lot.
Definitely. No, 100%. And I think it's important for, from a production angle, to make sure that you are staying as up-to-date as possible with the tech that's there, Like, I think within dance music especially, as you said, it is a very electronic genre, and there is a level of importance, I feel, in keeping stuff sounding slick so it sounds good across the board. But there's something I wanted to kind of dive into before this, because I know Romana, who runs the Monday show here on Trickstar Radio, she runs a garage special show, and this is, we're going to get into a tune, and I know she wouldn't have forgiven me if I didn't actually play this one. And it goes by the name of Too Good to Be True. It was in the playlist before I even went to look at it, and we had our chat yesterday about songs that you wanted to play on the show. This was already there. It's already been played about 100 times on the station. So talk me through the production behind this one and how it kind of came together and how the response was as well, because I know you're proud of this one.
Yeah. No, I like this one. This one's just good vibes. This one's just got a nice energy to it. So, yeah, I mean, where a lot of these tunes start is by getting an acapella. So just getting the raw vocal, and like I'm an R&B head, and I really dig for these things. I'm not going to say exactly where I got it from, 'cause I can't even remember, to be honest. But a lot of the time I'll even buy records like with the acapella mix for cheap online, or a CD if I can't get a good quality rip or anything. So yeah,
I mean, that's proper old school. That's proper old school in the production side of things.
You got to source the goods, That's kind of like where it all starts, because there's so much, like, R&B vocals are incredible, R&B music is incredible, but the level of, I don't know, just the level of talent and production in some of these acapellas is that's why I haven't really like let go in a lot of respects. But yeah, so I get that, I chop it up, I figure out what key it's in, and then I'll start adding stuff to it, and I love adding keys. That's like my thing. So yeah, I don't know, just work out some melodies. With Too Good to Be True, it was those chords, and then the strings, and then and I think the drums, sometimes I'll make a real rough beat, but generally the drums come a little bit later. I used to just always start drums first, but I'm trying to just like, drums can fit around what's there. So yeah, vocals and keys, and then the rest kind of just makes itself, I think. And it's a vibe, and I think I like this one as well because in terms of vocals and structure, I've kind of laid it out a bit more like a song with a middle eight and intros and. I mean,
with that sort of just to interject, with that sort of compositional style, then obviously garage being a dance music genre, do you find it kind of easier or harder to kind of structure things with a more sort of, I suppose, classic sort of Western style of structure?
I think for me, structure can be one of the hardest parts, and it's just because sometimes structure-wise, you don't need to do anything. You just need to roll it out, right? And sometimes that's all you need, and that works really well. But I think it's always great. It's always great to have that B section. I mean, Todd Edwards is he's obviously incredible at a lot of things, but he's incredible at his structures as well, because he always has a sort of a middle eight and a kind of traditional song structure. And even though the songs would just slap if they were just one thing, I think having those switch ups just creates so much emotion, and the song doesn't get boring. So in terms of like how I take that on board, a lot of the time it would just be like a load of different vocal chops that lead the way, and I can just make different sections and just play around with them.
Amazing, man. Well, we're going to get into this one right about now. It does go by the name of Too Good To Be True. We are live on the line with Wilfy D this morning. This is The Breakfast Show on Trickstar Radio with myself, Kovu. Just before we jump into this one, very quickly, what is the best social media app for people to get hold of you on?
Yeah, I'm on SoundCloud, Wilfy D. I'm also on Instagram. That's wilfy.d. That's about it for my socials, so either of them is good.
Amazing. Thanks. Top stuff. Well, we're going to get into this one right about now. Just gone 17 minutes past 9 here. Keep it locked and don't go anywhere. We're in the building till 10, and right about now, we're live on the line with man like Wilfy D.
This is Breakfast with Kovu, bringing you their morning flavours on Trickstar Radio.
Trickstar Radio.